Jake Krez. This is Mild Sauce Radio, and tonight we have a very special guest. We're here with Musa Reems.
Hey, it's your boy Musa Reems, aka Fleetwood Jetson, aka Swank Thomas. We out here.
Swank Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't, I didn't know you were gonna pull that one out.
Yeah.
Man, welcome to the show.
Thanks
We
for
got
having
our
me.
guy DJ Just Jay.
Just,
I got it right. I also just realized that you had a shitload of reverb on that mic just now, so enjoy the arena sound from Jay for a moment. But no, we're here back again Sunday nights. Every Sunday night you can catch us here on Mild Sauce Radio doing a little sit-down one-on-one with all your favorite artists from around Chicago this week. Caught Musa Reems the other night at All Smiles, the 6-year anniversary for the big event over there.
Young Tonic Room. Shout out to Rich Jones.
Shout out Rich Jones. Shout out Def C was tearing it up.
Yeah,
like,
he was
yo.
going crazy. He was going crazy.
He was getting his girl man bars off like crazy, like all night over there.
Yeah, for real.
But yeah, thank you for coming by, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Just had a project out in March, so the fresh project in the streets.
Yeah.
Amp Hip Hop alumni as well. We had a Johnny on a few weeks ago talking about his project he did with them as well.
Yep.
Take us through a little bit. Let's start kind of. You were telling me something interesting off there beforehand. We're a little late. Sorry, guys. But we had a little conversation beforehand. You were telling us about how MF Doom being turned on to him and like when you were 14 years old,
Right, yeah.
really like turned the wheel towards hip hop for you. What was that like? Well, how did that kind of get you to here today, where you're talking to us?
It was mad different because in high school, I was already like, in high school, in grade school, I was trying to be different. So I was just trying to do anything that nobody was listening to. So I'm listening to J.
Like
J.
you're
Cole,
just going against the grain.
Exactly,
Yeah.
just to go against the grain. So I was listening to J. Cole, Friday Night Lights, Wiz Khalifa, Kush and Orange Juice, Wale More About Nothing, like those type of projects. So just being into the underground scene at that time in the mixtape culture, I was trying to find something that nobody else was listening to. And ironically, a lot of the Doom samples was flipped by those guys. So I was on my 8th grade graduation trip in D.C., and I had a history teacher. He put on Special Herbs. He put on Rap Snitches. And we heard it, and we was talking about like a whole bunch of people that we was just into at the time, especially like New York. I was big on New York hip hop, so he showed us that, and it just kind of changed my life in terms of us just like rhyming, because we'd be on the block just rhyming. After that, just putting on any instrumental and just going to the mall, going to stores, going to Juggernaut, just freestyling over Doom.
So what was it about like MF Doom specifically that like opened your eyes? Like we've all had that moment. You know what I mean? Like everyone who enjoys rap music at all, like has had that moment where somebody's opened their eyes to something. What did he do? What was different about him that like really like made you be like, damn, I gotta do this?
He was unique with his themes. Like on food, when I first heard that album, just him putting certain metaphors to food like beef and rap. That was crazy. Like cookies and the internet. I was like, Joe, it was like bottling my mind at the time because I've never seen people use metaphors in that way.
Right.
And to do a whole album based on that, it made me want to be clever with my wordplay. And then he got a very off-kilter style, the way he rhymes. And his rhymes are memorable because of the way he puts them together, the rhyme schemes and everything. And he was working with people like Madlib, and Dilla, Madlib, and Ninth Wonder. I was rapping over their beats at the time too.
So yeah, it was just kind of like a coalescing of
right, exactly.
And also it sounds like and it plays into the music you make today is like just kind of casting a wide net. We were talking about that earlier, actually, ironically, about like just generally like we're working and stuff, casting a wide net. Like subject matter, themes, stuff like that. It's stuff you talk about. It's stuff we see in your music today. So is that something like you really focused in on, being able to talk about just anything? I feel like, you're right. Like until that hip hop felt like this kind of like, like everyone was like just trying to like big shoulder it and stuff, you know? And then like guys like Madlib came along, guys like MF Doom came along that like really like opened the door to like just be fun with your lyrics. I think Kid Cudi was happening at the same time. You have I'm lost with you because you're like you're a little younger, so like you said Friday Night Lights, and I was like, that's classic J. Cole. I thought that was that was like post the come up, the blow up, and all that, you know what I mean? So but I feel you. That's real.
That is crazy. I mean, I listen to all the other ones too. Like that is kind of crazy. That was like his third mixtape, right? Second or third?
No, it was like his like. Because he did the whole like with the warm up.
He did the warm up, yeah.
And then the come up and then the blow up.
Yeah.
That was like a whole trio. And then like I think Friday Night Lights was right after that though.
Yeah. That was like 2011.
Talking about
It was towards the end of all like the warm up stuff. It was after he had got signed by Jay-Z, I believe.
It was like and then it was like right before
the rock,
It was like his last release before the first album. It's like
Yeah.
in that period.
Yeah,
of,
facts.
Like,
Yeah.
him getting signed and then him trying to like make music to impress Jay-Z. That was like that first flop album. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, J. Cole, this is not what we like.
That's gonna be a mixtape.
Oh,
And then he
dude.
just came back with bangers after that.
That's real. Yeah. Have you checked out the new album?
Yeah, I rocked with it. It was
J.
I
Cole
only still
fans,
like
though,
one
are,
time.
a
Yeah.
lot to deal with.
It's a little different too. I'm also like working on my own stuff, so I'm trying not to be subconsciously like influenced by other people.
Do you try not to listen to a lot of
Yeah,
other music during that time?
yeah,
Some
during
people
that
listen to like everything and like try to pull.
Yeah.
I'm like you. Like
Yeah.
if I'm like working on something, I don't want to.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like I'm stealing that.
Yeah, I
But
don't
that's
wanna-
how some people do it. I mean,
Yeah.
some people.
I don't listen to something like, oh, and then I listen to my song like I sound like somebody I just heard. So I try
Yeah.
to just cool out because I do graphic design and stuff too. So that's how I kind of get into other things.
Okay.
I work on other art forms to get my mind going. So the artwork for IDGAF, the Gibson stuff, I worked on that. And
Oh, so you did all that yourself?
Yeah, well, like sometimes I try to work on it. I have a content team too, so they do most of the artwork, and I have Crystal Face.
Oh
they
shit,
do-
you got a content.
Yeah,
Damn.
they go
All right, look at
crazy.
you.
Shout out to
Yeah,
Gang.
shout out to Amp, bro. Amp be going crazy. Yeah, they be going crazy with it. So yeah, they do like a lot of the artwork. But I also have a homie called named Michael, and he did the artwork for both of the projects. The first, Lately I've Been Soul Searching, and then the second one.
Okay.
So-
So you, it sounds like I didn't know this about you. You have like sounds like you have like a real dedicated squad
Right, yeah.
around you working on all this stuff.
Yeah,
What was
they're
it like? We were talking earlier off air about the come up of Chicago over the years, like the the Chance early stuff in like 2013, 14, 15. It seems like you've taken a lot of pages out of that, building your own team, having like the kind of like independent spirit to it a little bit.
Right.
What's it been like building that up?
It's been great. When I first started making music, I got into PR, and ironically, I was looking at what Brent Butcher was talking about a lot on Twitter.
Okay.
Twitter University, you feel me? So I was taking a lot of advice that he was talking about, kind of applying it to my own career. And I was in a group at the time called Children of Ilios, and we were putting out music, putting out a couple projects, video. Or no, you all good. And we were doing that. After that had happened, I started doing solo stuff about late 2016. Released another Dose, which I premiered through These Days, and then that caught wind. And then I sat on music for a little bit, worked on a new sound, and I finished Lately I've Been Soul Searching in the summer of last year. And I saw that Amp were looking for artists, and I met everybody basically in my team through Amp.
Okay.
And that's been like a dope experience. My manager, everybody.
Yeah, AMP is a great. I mean, for those who don't know, AMP is the Columbia student-run music label. I always mess that up. I always say the right thing. But, student-run music label. Alex Fruchter has really championed the whole thing and been instrumental in putting that together. And every year they have, I don't know, is it like several artists now that they're working with in a year? Because it seems like the output is going up.
Yeah. Well, for this year, I was the only artist. I feel like Johnny was last year.
Okay, so that
Right.
maybe is like we're just in that like
Right.
overplay type. Like,
And I remember like growing up, I used to look at the collections that they did. So it was a lot of Seasick, Saba, D-Lo.
Yeah. What was the process like for you? I mean, Johnny was on here talking, just praising like the ability to kind of like get that first rough draft of like working with a label and understanding how the business side works. Was that like, has that been a eye-opening experience for you at all?
Yeah, it's been dope because I'm very dedicated in terms of working on my own career too. So to have people around you that's just as dedicated made me more passionate.
Absolutely.
And that's the cool thing about it because they calling me and they're like, we can get better at this. You can get better at this.
You're like, oh shit.
Yeah,
all
like,
right, like.
it made me more excited. It made me want to get up. So it's just even more exciting to do that. And with that being said, the people I have around me, it's about 20 kids within the class, and we get stuff done, get in the lab, work stuff out.
What was the process? When does you start as like the AMP artist?
They contacted me in around September, October.
Okay.
And did an interview process, got interviewed. They picked me as the artist. I had singles and stuff ready, so the first project, so we went through that, the process that we wanted to do, and we ended up picking Play for Keeps, and then that was the first song I released under them, and then it's been consistent output since then.
That's dope. How long does it run?
Right now,
What's like the tenure, I guess? Like it's like
around
about a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like do like a full year run kind of thing.
Yeah.
What's the plans you guys have coming up?
Right.
What kind of plans do you guys have?
Can
you tell us?
Yes,
I
There's no secret. We got a Lingo video coming out soon. A Manifest on May 11th. South by Southwest was dope. That was my first time down there. I enjoyed that a lot. They do a dope show too.
And yeah, and that's a really not to cut you off at all, but that's a great entry point actually. I think with AMP that they have is that they give a lot of people from Chicago their first time down to South by Southwest, which is such a great experience.
Right.
Especially for, I mean, I think it's over inundated with people who don't need to go all the time, but like for an artist like yourself, it's a great starting point. It's a great point to get like your name out and stuff. What was that like? Did you drive down? Do you like the whole?
I took the plane.
Okay. You gonna do the 16 hours?
Nah, but we got some shows coming up out of state. We're gonna drive to, so that's gonna be lit. But
like a first tour type situation, or what's going on?
Not tour. I got a show coming up in New York. Yeah, so that's gonna be lit.
Where in New York?
Brooklyn. So it's gonna be lit. Yeah, nice. I don't have to, it's not tied down yet, but it'll be within the next couple weeks. So
okay, so keep an eye out for that.
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, South by was so lit. And Curbside Jones, shout out to Curbside. He produces for me. He's from Austin. We had a working relationship through the internet for the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And we finally met this year.
That's actually that is the coolest part of South. I remember going back over the years. I took a couple years off the last 2, I think. I don't know. But the first few years I went, I was like so cool because you got to like walk around and actually put faces to the internet. Right. You know, it was like the internet is like this weird thing. You become friends with people all around the country, and all of a sudden you go to the same place and get to actually meet everyone. Yeah. It is nice to get things off the digital side for a little bit at least.
It is. Yeah. And it was cool. I met Yo down there too. Shout out to Yo. He's mad dope.
DJ booth? Yeah. He's got the new book out.
Yeah.
Best damn hip hop writing.
Right.
Go pick
crazy,
that up
Yo.
at Amazon.
Yeah.
I used to work with Yo. He's like he's the absolute homie, man.
Yeah, he's the homie for real.
He's going crazy.
He shows love over there. Yeah, for real. So like meeting people like that. Then also just AMP, like the label, they put together a great show. So shout out to them. A lot of dope artists from Chicago. It was called A Little Taste of Chicago. So it was real dope all the time. So it was dope to be down there and just see people, to meet new people, and see a lot of talent at the same time. And it'd be crazy because the city's so big, but it's so small at the same time. And when you're down there, I'm running into people, I'm like, hey, I'm from Chicago. I'm like, whoa, I mean, that's crazy.
Like Chicago, like unofficially kind of rules South by for some reason every year. It's like you can go anywhere and it's like you'll run into it. It feels like you're in Chicago.
Right, it does.
Somebody from Chicago is gonna be on that stage, no matter what.
Or like walking down the street, or like just like getting a piece of pizza down like right next to you or something like that. Right. Like it's always that case. Yeah. But that's dope. It sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was dope.
Since then, what is like after coming back, did it like open your eyes to like how you have to attack the next year? I know like everybody tries to like position in those early years, and you're like working like you're getting traction, like getting fans, getting that. There's always a point where you set up for South by, but there's always that year you go to South by and then like oh shit, I gotta like there's like all this other stuff. Right. What was it like for you? Was that kind of part of that first experience down there?
It was dope. Yeah, it was definitely like that. In terms of me
you
going
had some
down
stuff like hooked up too, so it was like a nice first time, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And with being down there too, I always wanted to go, so I always would apply. So this is my first time actually going, and then looking into other festivals like A3C and things like that, doing other things, just definitely that opened my eyes to that. And I've been looking at that for a while because I used to watch videos on YouTube of my favorite artists being down there. So when I looked at it before going, it was making sure I had a stamp down there, and also networking and getting my name out, and then getting back on the ground and doing shows out here too. And that's something that I value too. Being able to do shows, have fans come out, talk to them, gain new listeners.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that you appreciate that because there are a lot of artists in the city who, we were just talking about G Herbo, what was it, 3 weeks ago, had his show canceled in the city. There's a lot of artists in the city. Mello Makes Music was here last week talking about that as well. How he's been like so lucky to be able to play so many shows, but for some reason the city seems to pick and choose who they let play. That's kind of the weird thing about Chicago right now.
It is. It's very weird in that way. And